Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about the rising home prices and how it is negatively impacting Americans, especially younger Americans. So, history often tends to repeat itself, but when it comes to the current housing market, don't hold your breath. If you were a home buyer in the mid 2000s, today's hot market might look eerily familiar. Like many of your fellow Americans, you might be wondering when this housing cycle will finally come to a close and bring prices back down to earth. However, it won't be that simple this time around. That's because the US housing market is in uncharted waters, and it's throwing homebuyers for a loop. A typical real estate cycle occurs in four phases: expansion, hypersupply, recession, and recovery. This is the pattern that gave rise to the housing bubble of the mid-aughts at a time when a combination of cheap debt, predatory mortgage lending, and complex financial engineering led to a foreclosure crisis as well as credit crisis among investors, and by 2008, a global recession. During the Great Recession, U.S. home prices, which had soared during the housing bubble of 2006 and 2007, tanked 33%. This created a chance for many Americans to afford a home if they had managed to escape the crisis financially unscathed. As some of the factors that contributed to the housing crisis of 2008 reemerge, many Americans, especially millennials, the largest home buying cohort of the 2020s who witnessed their parents navigate the rocky real estate landscape of the 2000s, are expecting a similar outcome. However, current housing market is vastly different beast. Although the US is bracing for a possible recession in 2023, home prices will not be crashing anytime soon. As Axios' Nathan Bomey recently wrote in a newsletter, as an older millennial, the financial crisis trained me to think that housing prices that go up must come down, but this has been making the makings of a soft landing. The nation's real estate market is in disarray. Home prices and rents have soared to new highs as potential home buyers scramble for America's limited amount of housing inventory. All the while, affordability has plummeted for millions of households as the reality of achieving the American dream becomes increasingly bleak. Instead of a hard crash this time around, the real estate market is bracing for a softer landing. And that means home prices won't fall like they did in 2008. In 2022, housing volatility isn't attributed to lax lending standards, but instead an imbalance of housing inventory and demand that has driven affordability to new lows. I don't think home prices will fall anytime soon. Holden Lewis, a home and mortgage analyst at NerdWallet, told Insider. Demand still exceeds supply of available homes for sale. The economy is creating jobs and lending standards are strict. Those factors work to keep home prices from declining. According to Freddie Mac, a publicly traded firm created in 1970 to expand the secondary market for U.S. mortgages, the housing market currently needs more than 3 million to meet the demand of would-be buyers, according to Realtor.com. The dearth of housing supply has helped to drive the national median list price to an all-time high of $425,000. While buyer demand has somewhat cooled due to mortgage rate hikes spurred on by the Federal Reserve attempts to cool inflation, home prices are still climbing in neighborhoods across the country. Normally, higher mortgage rates cause home prices to cool. Nadia Evanglu, the senior economist of the senior forecasting at the National Association of Realtors, told Insider, "But I don't expect home prices to drop in 2022. We will see a slower home price appreciation, but not a price drop." According to NAR, despite mortgage rates rising above 5%, home prices still rose 15% in April. Over the last year, the organization says that rapid home price increases and mortgage rate growth has plummeted housing affordability by 29%, representing the steepest annual decline on record. Although higher mortgage rates hurt affordability, home prices continue to rise, Evanglu said. NAR expects the home prices to rise by 5% by year's end. For many millennial buyers, this could put a pin in their home owner dreams. So this is absolutely imperative information. The hopes of purchasing a home is becoming more and more increasingly distant, especially for younger buyers. So this is something we all have to take into consideration, whether we want to buy a house or it makes more sense to rent. It all depends on what your guys' current financial situation is. So with that being said, if you guys like content like this and want to see more, hit that subscribe button below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.